like to call to order the regular board meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first item is the review of the regular board meeting minutes from our meeting on 1/16/2018 and the special called meeting on 1/24/2018.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other comments?
I abstained from the January meeting. I was absent.
Okay. All those in favor of approval of the regular board minutes and the special called meeting, sorry, I'm having trouble here, state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Next item is the confirmation and approval of the claims.
I ask Ms. Rogers to come forward.
Hello all. In reviewing the claims for February 2018, the total is $444,622.47. Of that total, Fund 1 is $261,641.13. Last year, the amount paid at the February board meeting was approximately $279,000. That's a difference of nearly $7,500 less that was paid this year over last year. The primary reason for that is the timing of our payment for workers' comp to Kimmy. Last year, that payment was made in January. This year it was paid in December. So that's a difference of approximately $21,000. And that's offset by increased cost in utilities and diesel fuel this year due to colder weather that we've had recently. That's approximately $3,000 in each category. As well, we had to replace our folder sealer in the payroll AP department. We've had it about 17 years, and we needed it for W-2s, 1099s to go out, as well as our AP checks. So that was about $2,400 that we spent, and we shopped that around and got a really discounted price. It was nearly double that when we originally priced it. And then also we completed the LED lighting upgrade in the gymnasium. So that was about $10,721 paid to Bright Wholesale. As well, we have insurance payment out of Fund 400 for debt service. That was $32,277.82. That was one payment for interest. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer those for you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you, Tracy. Do I have a motion for approval of the claims?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of confirmation and approval of the claims, state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Next item is the financial report.
First, to review the treasurer's report for January 2018 ending. There's a verified cash balance for the bank statement and with Munis of $7,528,606.04. If you'll notice on the bottom portion there where you see the breakdown by funds, you see there's a deficit of a little over $1 million in Fund 400. What we're going to do this month is make a transfer from the general fund to Fund 320 to cover this debt service for our 3 nickels, the local nickels. So you'll see that transfer at the end of this month. It'll be in the reporting for February ending. And then also I wanted to provide you with an update on where we stand with the information over the last few months that we've received about the anticipated state impact towards school funding. I'd hoped to have more definitive information for you today, but we're in a holding pattern of sorts right now. It's been reported that a pension bill will be released this week. We're hoping so. Also, the state legislature is currently working with the governor's proposed budget. Therefore, the only certain thing right now that we know is that there's still a lot of uncertainties for us and then throughout the state as well. The process will play out and we'll do what's necessary to handle the final outcome. And then, as you will recall, we've used a credit card reward program since 2011 with American Express. So over those 7 years, we've received nearly $39,000 in return by applying some of our normal business costs to the credit card in lieu of paying by check. These returns are based on the payment volume, and the payment issuance time of our state program group. I've recently learned of a different program through Fifth Third Bank, which uses MasterCard and includes Jefferson County and Fayette County in their program group. So this means that we would be able to potentially increase our volume as more businesses accept MasterCard over American Express. But then also our group volume would increase greatly because we'd have those larger districts included in that. So not only that though, Fifth Third Bank has an integrated payment statement reconciliation program for Munis. So that would save our finance office some work each month reconciling those that statement with our bank statement. So I'm meeting with the credit card representative tomorrow afternoon, and my intention is to bring that information to you in March if it's beneficial to our district, so that you all can review making that transfer from one card program to another. And then finally, for an update in the tax collection status, through the month ending January, we've collected 95% of our real estate and tangible property tax bills. So this compares to 93% that we received through this period last year. So bill-wise, that's 290 bills outstanding today. As of last year, it was 454. So it's really improved this year. Letters will be mailed to those delinquent owners and to notify them of the deadline for payment. That'll be about mid-March, and then we'll have the tax sale on April 20th. And that's all the information I have for you all.
Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome.
Tracy, this credit card, would it be used for things like Walmart?
We have a Walmart card that we use. We don't currently put our Walmart charges on that. It's typically used for like Gordon Food accepts it, which is our food service and our child care, school supplies, school specialty, things like that. We can put, our diesel, we can put on the credit card. So everything that we can use on the credit card, we do that as long as the vendor will accept it.
Tracy, this $1 million move of money for debt service, is that a normal function annually we do?
Yeah.
It's just
In the past, we waited until February because we had two separate checking accounts for tax collection and for the general fund. Now they're merged. So it's really not necessary to wait because we have enough that's been collected there. But for historical review, I'd like to keep it in February so that we always, just have that timeline.
Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome.
You say we use it for Gordon Foods,
Yes, sir.
the whole thing? Because we paid them year-to-date $381,000.
That's the great thing about our program. So you don't see that who we pay to American Express is American Express. We run it through Munis to every single vendor, so you know exactly how much has been paid to the vendors and for what. So even though it's reflective of Gordon Foods, it's actually a payment that's made on the American Express card.
Is there a cap on it?
I think it's $150,000 for the district. And I think the most that we've done, actually it was, I believe earlier this year, $94,000. And we also have cards for technology and for transportation that someone may check out. It doesn't happen often if we have a bus driver that goes out of state. And then some of the technology purchases we can make on the card also.
So it's a monthly cap, not an annual cap?
Right. And like I said, the rewards are flexible. It's based on our timing of payment and then also the volume of our group. So I'll get a statement notice in my email, usually by the 2nd of the month, and then I'll go in that day and make a payment as quickly as possible. So we'll get a better return. Thank you all.
Very good.
Our next item is the superintendent's report.
Just have 3 quick items today. First of all, notice in your packet the activities that we have for this month, particularly next week. There will be several Black history programs in our schools. If you are certainly invited to those, if you're able to, schedule allows you to make those. KSBA conference be coming up right around the corner, March 2nd through the 4th. If you need help with registration, again, just give the office a call here, and Elsie will take care of your reservation for you there. On Saturday, we have one of our Bardstown High School students has been selected as the first to go KSBA scholarship winner this year. I told our chair about that. Her response was, "It's about time." So we have entered that every year. It's been available, and we are pretty excited that we're going to have a winner. And that winner will be recognized at the luncheon there on Saturday. So I'm not positive about the seating arrangements, but there might be space at this table that if you, we'll talk to each other about this, and when we get there, and we may be able to sit with this student and this family. So I know the chair is going to be able to make that, and I will be there myself. So, also one final item I wanted to share with you: our Area Technology Center. You know, that's located. We consider that as a Nelson County Area Technology. It's for all schools in our county. We're pretty excited. In our board notes, I shared this, but I wanted to share this with you into meeting as well. We're very excited. About 2015, we had a conversation about, Mr. Stone was chair at that time, and we had a conversation about the number of students that we had participating in our Area Technology Center. At that time, I think we had 13 students going to that program. We engaged in several conversations over the few months after that, and then into a year or two after that, and pretty quickly we realized that there are some things that we can do, and we increased our enrollment there a considerable amount. At that time in 2015, we set what I thought was an extremely lofty goal of 100 students that we would try to have enrolled by the fall of 2019. We just finished our high school scheduling, and I'm very excited to announce to you, a year earlier than thought, we have 146 students who have applied to be in that program. So we hope we'll be able to get all of them in the program. But just some really good news, and as you know, as our college and career focus, this is something that really plays an important part in that to help prepare all of our students for future employment. And that's all I have for our...
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have for the superintendent's report at this time. So.
All right. Well, the next item is our favorite, the board member appreciation.
Board member appreciation. I will remind you that last month is officially the board member appreciation, but we have students present for you, and so we had a snow day at the last meeting, so we were able to move our appreciation celebration to this month. As you know, this time of year we do celebrate our board appreciation in the state of Kentucky. It's a time when we recognize our board members for all they do for us. I want you to know that we appreciate you every day, but we make this a special day, and we want to recognize you in a special way. We want to say thank you to you all for what you do throughout the year. A board member's work is usually behind the scene. There's a lot of things you do that folks may or may not necessarily know. So there's little praise that kind of comes with the work that you do. But today, we want to change all that. We want to say thank you for all you do throughout the year. We want to lift you up from the entire Bardstown City school family. So we have with us today a special gift that comes with Mrs. Mudd and her 4th grade class of poets. Ms. Mudd, we want to say thank you to you for all the preparation that you put into preparing our students for this special time, special presentation. And we ask at this time if you will share the wonderful gift for board appreciation for the Bardstown City School board members.
I'd love to. So we would like to take this moment to recognize you for all the time and energy and dedication that you've put into the many years that you've served our board and our school district and our students and our staff. And it's an honor for my class to be a part of such a worthy celebration. So when Mr. Holzclaw first asked if I would be willing to put something together, my class we were in the middle of our figurative language unit. And so with my passion for poetry and our figurative language unit, we just merged the two and made it just a learning opportunity for our students. So thanks to Miss Lacey, she gave us a little background personal information a little bit on you guys, and so we were able to put together a personal poem for each of you, and so I hope you will enjoy.
I didn't do it.
Well, you might like this.
I've learned a lot, by the way.
My name is Lily Pickett and Gabby Schultz, and the title of our poem is For the Love of Purple and Gold. You are the mother hen of our school district, the overseers of our knowledge. You care about our future and preparing us for college. You approve important plans, go to our games and cheer in the stands. Ask questions and seek answers to improve our schools. Give support to the students who have a little pull. You give us so much time and devotion, provide us with learning tools to keep our minds in motion. The key to our success rests in people like you. Thank you, board members, for all that you do. My name is Bailey Jennings, and the title of my poem is Mrs. Jennifer Shrewsbury. Kind-hearted and giving, she's truly a star, advocating for the less fortunate both near and far. Loves helping children improve their speech, enjoys traveling the world and spending time on the beach. Shopping with Haley is a little piece of heaven. She served on the board faithfully since 2007. Thank you, Mrs. Jennifer Shrewsbury, for the passion you have for our students. My name is Sadie Blanco, and the title of my poem is Mr. Jim Roby. Serving on the board for over 20 years, he and his wife Jane are likely to cheer. Go Tigers, go Bardstown, don't stop, don't quit. He bleeds purple and gold and has a quick wit. A more devoted Bardstown fan could not be found of that of Mr. Jim Roby, the most loyal guy around. Some might say he spoils his grandkids rotten. He continues a legacy that will not be forgotten. Thank you, Mr. Jim Roby, for your continuous support of our schools and our community. My name is Lydia Woods, and the title of my poem is Mr. Andy Stone. You are an eagle in the air and a movie buff on land. Since 2013, you've been lending a helping hand, contributing to the board and to the community, bringing great movies for all of Bardstown to see. Striving for excellence and going for the great. Thank you, Mr. Andy Stone, for a job at first grade. My name is Styles Cream, and the title of my poem is Mr. Frankie Hibbs. A 1978 Bardstown grad, so excited to become a granddad. An active outdoorsman, how far would he go? So much room in his heart for little Margot. An entrepreneur and a family guy. Pole vaulting in high school, he get pretty high. Golf courses, ski slopes, soccer fields are his gym use. A family legacy of dedication to Bardstown he strives to continue. Thank you, Mr. Hibbs, for your leadership and commitment to the success of our schools. Hello, my name is Amalia Sawyer, and the title of my poem is Miss Kathy Reed. An advocate for fairness, equality for all, a human rights activist is one of her calls. The longest board member, Miss Kathy Reed, has a passion for children and meeting their needs. Her actions inspire others to dream bigger dreams and be the best self that they can possibly be. She loves her family and holds them so dear. Thank you, Miss Kathy Reed, of your commitment of 27 years.
That Mr. Holmescott doesn't want any limelight on him, but since he's retiring, we just threw in a little poem for him. I'm not getting emotional like this. Okay. Unexpected. Okay. Some might say that change is a good thing. Perhaps this may be true, but it's really hard for us to say when it comes to our district losing you. Your dedication, integrity, and support over the past 13 years have not gone unnoticed. For that, we say cheers. It gets better, okay. Here's to fun with Sandy at the lake, taking Lexi on more father-daughter dates, more time with your boys, maybe a few unexpected trips, perhaps a little hip-hop dancing. Be careful not to throw a hit. From all the staff and students, we send you best wishes and a high-five tiger paw. For a job well done, you're second to none. You will be missed, Mr. Holsclaw.
Please accept our heartfelt appreciation. Our schools are a better place because of your dedication.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I say this every year, but I think that might be my favorite.
Where's the tissue?
I was wondering.
We might have a motion for an adjournment here.
I know, we all might need a pause.
Thank you, Bree.
Kim Lacey's in big trouble. It's not about me.
And that's the end of the board
That's it.
appreciation.
Thank you all. We do appreciate you so much.
All right, I would like to recognize any visitors we have who would like to present to the board. If not, then I will move on to the next item, which is our focus on delivery targets, which is Bardstown Elementary.
Mr. Chair, the flu has struck our presenter this week as far as getting prepared. So what we did, if it's okay with you, we will indefinitely postpone that particular item and see what kind of space we have on future agendas, and if so, we will move that in. If
Okay.
that's agreeable with everyone?
Okay. So then our next item would be our KETS offer of assistance.
It's kind of hard to follow that.
Good luck with that.
You've got us in a really good spot right now.
Yeah, that was excellent.
Hey, this better be poetic.
Get your rhyme on.
We're in trouble there. The only thing I can do is tell you what KIT stands for. Kentucky Educational Technology System. And each year we get sometimes up to 3 offers of assistance from them. This year, we didn't get the first one. We usually get that in the fall, but now we've gotten 2 in the spring. And the total amount is $35,347 that we can either match at this time and use, or that we can escrow up to 3 years. And so what we propose today is to escrow that money, and we can get it out any time in the future. But with the budget being so uncertain, and the match of the $35,000 today is probably not a good choice. So what we'd like to do is ask for your permission to escrow that money and then access it in the future when we know a little bit more about what the budget's going to look like.
Sounds good.
Okay? All right?
Mr. Downs, is
Yes, ma'am.
this, without getting what we wanted in the fall, does this make up where we need to be?
It put those 2 together, the 2 offers together. But what they were waiting on is, you remember there was going to be the governor wanted that 18% reduction at the beginning of the year, and it wasn't quite 18%, but they were waiting to see how much money total was going to be in the pie, and then it was sent out to all the districts that way. So that's why we had to wait until spring. But this is, I think, Tracy, this is in the normal range of what we normally get.
To what we've received in the past.
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes if there's extra money left over, we'll get a 3rd offer.
Awesome.
Okay? Thank you.
And if we get a 3rd offer, when would that be?
Could be any time.
Right, it'll be later in the spring.
Yeah,
Okay.
could be any time, especially once the budget gets settled in April, then we may be able to see a little bit more money.
Thank you, Mr. Downs. Do I have a motion for approval of the fiscal year 2018 KETS 1 and 2 offer of assistance? Is there, and that's a second. Any other comments or discussion? All those in favor of the KETS 1 and 2 offer of assistance, state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Next item is the certified evaluation plan.
Has Mr. Beck come forward?
I'm coming before you today to seek approval of our Certified Evaluation Plan, also known as the CEP. First, a little background. Our best practice is to review annually what our Certified Evaluation Plan is and look for any changes that we need to make. Some years, KDE and state regs will have different requirements and it'll require some updates or changes to our plan. Some years it'll be very few changes, some years it'll be none. some years, like when PGS or PGIS comes through, as it did several years back, we had to throw the old plan out and start completely from scratch and rebuild it. Fortunately, this is not one of those years. So how we do this is we select a 50-50 committee, which is half administrators and half certified staff. And once we got 5 that agreed on both sides, we had our first meeting on January 30th to take a look at any changes that KDE was requesting, or that our staff was requesting, or that our administrators were requesting. And sometimes they can be something as simple as, could you change the wording on this form? It's a little unclear. Could you give us more room to write on this form? Can we have a duplicate of this form for our own record? Something of that nature. So at the end, this year's 50-50 committee, looking at KDE's recommendations, the teacher recommendations, and the administrator recommendations, came up with 3 changes to our existing form. Not very much at all. First, they want to remove student voice for KTIP teachers. The logic behind this was that it's non-evaluative. It's only there as part of the KTIP process, so we're taking it out of the certified evaluation plan, and we're still going to do it. It just will not be in the evaluation plan because that really wasn't where it belonged. So number 2, they wanted to change the wording on the self-reflection timeline from within 60 days to by the 60th day. They felt this better explained that you can begin working on your self-reflection towards the end of the year so that you could work on that material over the summer rather than focusing in on starting as soon as the school year began. And both the teachers and the principals requested that. And then lastly, number 3, we removed a sentence that said all ratings must be recorded in the approved technology platform. What that really meant was SITS. You may remember that word, the SITS platform. We were required by the state at one time to load all of our evaluations into SITS. It's a very difficult platform to use, and the state eventually, after many districts complained about how difficult it was to use, decided to go away from that platform. So that platform doesn't exist anymore, so that's why we simply struck that from the entire. So we have those 3 changes. Other than that, it's the exact same plan that you approved the previous year from our committee. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I will need a motion for approval for the certified evaluation plan.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other further comments or discussion? All those in favor of approval of the certified evaluation plan, state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Next item is the non-resident contracts. For the,
Mr. Chair, I'm going to ask Mr. Hood to come up for the next 5 items. So he'll be helping us through these.
Be here a while. Okay, yes, first of all, with the non-resident contracts, this is an agreement that we do every year. This is showing the schools that we have kids that attend versus school districts that kids attend here. We always point out a couple that might seem a little abstract to you. One is the Berrien County, that we have an agreement with Berrien County Schools. Just so you know, that's the virtual high school, so students from across the state can take that online. No one from Berrien is coming to school here on a daily basis. Everything else is pretty much in order there to just show some of the reasons that you'll see that kids are attending here. For instance, Jefferson County being one of those. We have people who drive from Jefferson to here to better employed, and they bring their kids with them. So we have that agreement. What the non-resident contract does, it allows the money from the state to flow with the child. So it's just a reciprocal agreement. Nothing has changed. This stays in-house. Audits, if we're audited, we have this in place to show that we have this non-resident agreement, allows the money to come with the child. Be glad to answer any questions you might have on any of those, but they're typically the same ones we've We just pick up what we've done over the last 5 years, basically, and add any that need to be, so.
Just one point about this, Mr. Hood, and for the sake of the board. This would only list those school districts that we have a reciprocal agreement with, to where our students can flow to them and they can flow to us. The other situation is our students can flow to them, but one district restricts students coming here, so that would not be included in this.
Does it still allow them to come, or our students to go there?
Yes,
Yeah, they can move one way, but not
right.
both. Okay.
Yeah, we
Thank you.
freely allow our students to go with no restrictions.
Thank you.
Do you have any idea how many students are being educated in other districts, and how many are coming into our system?
I did not bring that with me. It's something that I could get. We probably only have maybe 20 that go out. Probably more like 25, 30 that come in. It's pretty close to the same amount. But I can get that for you and get you the exact numbers.
I'd ask a question. Do they have to ask permission if they live in the school district to go to another district? Or they can just go and apply?
As long as there's a reciprocal agreement, which we have, they can just go and apply.
If they don't have reciprocal agreement, can they still just go?
Well, like in the case with the one person on this list, one school system that does not work with us on that, then those students can leave here and go, but they are restricted to come from that district
That
here.
Here, yes, okay. So they can just go, okay.
Yeah, they can just, because we believe in choice.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Are we required to accept them?
No,
Okay.
but we accept every child that wants to come.
I think that is one of our unique things about Bardstown.
It's one of the very first things I learned when I came here.
Mhm.
Yeah. Take them all.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, do I have a motion for approval of the non-resident contracts for the fiscal year 2018 and 2019?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Any other comments or discussion? All those in favor of approval, state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carried. Next item would be the revised BG1 narrative for the bus garage.
The only addition here is we were fortunate enough with the bus garage project, as you guys are aware, we were able to get everything that we first initially asked for, which was the bus garage. We put the move the paper storage out there that's climate controlled. We did the LED lighting upgrade to the whole building. And then we were able to do some work also on the upper side of that where they had parked most of their trucks. So we were able to do that. Along with that, the State Department has asked for a revision basically to C there. You'll see in the second paragraph is what we have revised. And the reason they wanted that is because of egress, of how many students there could be getting in and out. So as we started to look at as they started to look at approving that, they wanted us to add this language. So this is the revised part that they are talking about, which talks about athletics use, batting cages. Then it has the occupancy there, load of 594 occupants with egress capacity of up to 896. There's many doors there that allows for them to get out. So they are just asking for you guys to approve basically that section. You've already approved most of C. It's just that wording that allows for students to use that facility. And the architects are signing off on that it is structurally sound for use.
Just a little further explanation to make sure you have a handle on it. When we began the bus garage project, we did not realize at that time that we would be able to complete the athletic side of it as quickly as we did. And we were able to do that. And so with them, with that occupying students, then we have to have some wordage in the second paragraph.
How many students are using the building daily?
There's right now there's around 150 to 200 weekly using it. So, and that's Monday through Friday. So you could, I mean, it's used a lot from middle school all the way through, well, from elementary even with archery. program. So around 150 kids per week. And I have a schedule of that. Mr. Clark has the master schedule, Dave Clark, and so he sends that to me so we know what groups are in there. It's really neat how they've set it up because it's monthly. You kind of have to go back in the rotation, and then they basically draw times out, and then you get to choose. So you don't always get, for instance, one group is not going prime time 4 o'clock Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It all changes with all sports. So everyone has equal opportunity, and then the weekends, it's kind of a first come, first serve, but you still sign up. But it's being used a lot. It's a great facility, especially with the weather that we've had, this with cold and rain.
It's in high demand.
Mhm.
Well, and to see you use the facility Monday through Friday, and that's basically school-based? Because I know Saturdays and Sundays, they use it for all types of practice and tryouts, and there's way more than 150 students a week that use it.
Right, but we are limiting who's using the facility to our.
Mr. Hood, to Mr. Hibbs's point, 150 students is for a week, but they're practicing every day of the week. So in some cases, there's 150 in there per day if they're on the schedule. So, yeah.
Who polices that use on the weekend, so to speak? Is there someone always on site? Is there specific hours or somebody out there that's in charge?
Well, the coaches are in charge of each individual. So there's not kids coming and going on their own. They must have a coach, and they must be one of our coaches.
There's not a single administrator, so to speak, present at the building to control the heat or the electric or the whatever?
No. Now, I have the lights controlled myself. I have those on timers. That's the great thing about the new lights that we have. So I have them set to come on at a certain time, and they go off at a certain time. When they go off, as long as you're in there in motion, you can stay in there. But so we've got that taken care of, and then I've also tried to monitor the heat. There are 4 heat units in there, and I've let them kind of monitor that themselves, and I've noticed that I put it 55 and it goes to 70 pretty quick if I'm not in there checking it. So
Are they motion based?
Motion, the lights are, not the electric.
HVAC?
They're thermostats.
Right.
Four thermostats, one for each unit. So it's a great facility. I mean, it's used a lot. I mean, it's really going to be beneficial to all of our programs.
Well, that's
And we
what
got it where it's locked up? Yep.
It's locked up.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hood. So we
need a motion?
Make a motion to approve the revised BG1 narrative.
Second.
Okay. Any other comments or discussion? All those in favor for approval of the revised BG narrative, state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Next item is the change order number 3 for the bus garage location.
So we did have one change order that's just now coming before you. The work has been approved. The work was already done. This was really a local change order requested by our own Nelson County folks. It had to do with the fire alarm and the fire system that's out there and the sprinkler system that's currently there. There are 4 or 5 bay garage doors out there. And when the doors are up, the water was not extending past a certain point, and they did not feel comfortable approving that, so we had to extend each one of those. And you can see there the cost on the document on that particular item changed by $4,512 to change all of those out and to get the initial inspection done on those. So it was something we had to do. They weren't going to approve it any other way. So I'm just asking for your approval for that change order. And this should close out that project completely. We'll be bringing to you a BG5 in the very near future.
During the wintertime, we're in compliance, but we put the doors up, we weren't in compliance. So we had to extend them out, is what you're saying.
Only question I've got is why didn't somebody figure that out the first time?
Well, that wasn't something, this was,
Fair
this
question.
building,
No.
was, I guess, was in.
No. If the architects went through and we redesigned this building, why didn't they figure out that the first time? Just saying. I mean, we may have had to pay for it the first
Well,
time.
I will tell you that our architects fought very hard in our favor to not have, they did not see that this was something that needed to be done. They went back and forth with Mr. Spalding on that. I mean, they really did. I saw some.
So this wasn't a state
This was not.
qualification
this was
standard,
not a
this
state.
was a local thing?
This was a local
Local
thing.
inspector.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Wonder why RECC wasn't responsible.
Well, in 83, there was, in 1983, when it was built, there was a change. There's been a change since that time. So.
Anytime you do a change, you gotta bring it up to code.
Exactly.
That's
Okay.
exactly right.
All right.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So do I have a motion for the change order number 3?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any other comments or discussion? All those in favor of approval for the change order number 3, the bus garage relocation and the upgrade, state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Next item is another BG3, the softball field.
This is on the soft, so we're getting to the new stuff now. So the BG3 is just like it says, this is a statement of probable cost. You guys have already approved the BG1 with the same numbers there. What they've done here is kind of broken these out to what they think the site development cost will be versus general construction. We've already had this discussion. I do not anticipate this project because we're going to be doing some of this work on our own. I do not think we're going to be at that price that you see there. I think that is definitely a maximum price unless there's something unforeseen that I do not see or anyone sees. We really believe this is a high number, but it is a statement of probable cost, what they think this could be. So we're asking for approval for that.
Just one more point of clarification, that this amount of money that we're using is not coming out of general fund. This is capital outlay, which is restricted funds that can be used only for projects such as this. I know in tight budgets you might be concerned with that. Just want to make that clear.
So do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other comments or discussion? All those in favor of approval for the BG3 softball field project, state aye. All those opposed? Motion carried. Next item is the owner-architect agreement for the softball field.
So with that, we are entering into agreement. Of course, you guys know that we've been using Sherman Carter Barnhart for some time for our projects. So this is there's a lot to this. I've looked through what they're asking, what they're responsible for, basically what we're responsible for. This document shows that basically February is a construction start, depending on the weather here the next week or so. And it also talks in here about how, you've probably seen that, but their substantial completion of this in May. Of course, there will still be some things lingering out there after that. You guys also know we have gotten approval from the city to use the softball field across the street for this season. We got that approved before we started any demolition over here. So they're kind of going to be coinciding. We're going to be playing over here, knowing that next year we'll have a top-notch facility right here where it was located. So I just ask for you to approve this owner-architect agreement for the softball field.
I had marked page 151 on the bottom of your iPads there for a lot of language change on item 11.8.1. What was the reason for all that?
I say that 11.8.1.
8.1.
Yeah, it looks like they had strike through a lot of things. I believe once we told them that we were going to be doing a lot of the work on our own, there was not going to be as much of the things out there. For instance, the bid process.
Responsible for.
Right, and the bid process. I I can tell you, just from what I have already been looking at, there's just some things that it will make, it really doesn't, now they're going to approve it. They're going to oversee, and they have to give their blessing on the project, but there's just some things in there that, for instance, it's talking about overtime work and things like that will strike through. We're just not going to have that. You know, I'm going to treat it much like we did the baseball field. I mean, they agree, they understand in tight budget times, we need, when we can, we need to do as much of this work on our own as we can and do the bidding process when needed. So I have sent to the State Department already a list of items that we are planning to bid out versus a list that we're going to do on our own, and a list that we're using the state contract that's already been bid out and these people won. So there's many moving targets to this, but I feel comfortable with Sherman Carter Barnhart, still do, that we'll have a great facility when we're finished.
Mr. Stone, also, in addition to what Mr. Hood has said, oftentimes with architects, these are boilerplate type contracts. And if you look at some of those items on there, like a site office, for example, in a large construction, you need a trailer pulled in, and that's not going to be the case here. So those are some of the things that are marked out. So,
But those are things that were a constant, a known value before they started too. So that's why it's a change now versus in the beginning.
Okay.
So I brought it up.
Well, my question following with Andy on this would be, do they give us a deduction in their percentage of fees if they don't have to provide these things?
I can't say that there's a deduction. I can find out the answer to that for you.
If it's a cost plus issue, then we won't receive the cost plus. But
Right.
if it's part of their fee in the original contract,
typically, it's required by the state. There's a set fee.
then they should supply this regardless then? I know, I'm
Possibly could.
Yeah.
But it would be, that would be an expense. It would not come out of their fees. That would, like let's say there's a construction trailer, for an example.
That's my
Then
question.
Then that construction company would be charging us for that. That would not be included in architect's
That's why I'm
fees.
asking if it's a cost plus addition or just a cost.
So these would be
more.
requirements for those construction
All right.
companies.
Okay.
And I believe, and two, that's what I said about the initial cost. Once this is all said and done, if this comes in at, say, 175 versus 250, their costs are going to be based on that number as well.
Gross.
This is on the 250 part.
Right. But my next question I'd ask you about, in-house construction costs. Is there any way for you to track what our
Absolutely.
employees do?
Right.
To add, you get out there and you do work, and it's an expense to the district. Do we know how we can manage that cost against this budget number?
Mhm.
Now, it's great that we can save it, we're gonna have to, it's more efficient
Right.
as a rule, but it may not be as a whole. But my question would be, do you do that, or can you do that, or is this something you might start here on a small project?
Well, what we will do is they will have, when we do it in-house, most of those things are, the material costs are going to be one thing, but the guys doing the work, we're already paying it. So when they can, when they have time, which there's not a lot on that. Like I said, there was going to be more, but when we found out that two of the main areas are on the state bid list, one is the bleacher part, and the other is Horde's Landscaping, two major items, they're on the state bid list, they've already been done. So the fencing, some things of that nature that we can do if time permits.
Well, if time does permit, then we're going to have to manage that cost somewhere.
Mhm.
So my question would be that, I understand that, but at the same time, we should probably keep some, and it doesn't have to be perfect, just some idea.
Right.
Because if we don't have time, we'll have to do something.
But we can do that.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Thank you.
So I do,
Make a motion to
That's
approve
what I was
the
looking for.
owner-architect agreement.
thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Any other comments or discussion? All those in favor of approval for the owner-architect agreement for the softball field project state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. Hood.
Thank you. The next item is the assurance certification.
ask Mr. Downs to come forward and share with us our Frisky Assurance Certification.
Yeah, this is for our Family Resource and Youth Service Center assurances that we make on a yearly basis to the state that we're going to follow the rules, basically. And one of the things that we are assuring them is that we're going to stay compliant with all state statutes and policies, that the district contact, which is myself, will attend annual meetings that we have to go to as part of that our center's advisory councils will be active, and if we ever have an opening in the family resource area, that the advisory council will play a role in picking the new person. Also, that we keep the student records and family records confidential and keep them in the proper manner. Just another example is that the center staff has access to the Munis system so that they can get budget reports monthly and keep up with those. So we are just going to assure the state that we will comply with all of their requests. And that's basically what this document is asking. And we certainly will.
Is this a yearly approval?
This is for the 19 and 20 fiscal year. I don't believe, Tracy, we do it it's every other year, isn't it, I think? It's every 2 years.
Correct.
And because we get our budget on a 2-year cycle.
Oh, I see.
And so we give them assurances every 2 years.
Do I have a motion for approval of this Family Resource and Youth Service Assurance Certification?
Make a motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Any other comments or discussion? All those, I just lost it, sorry. All those for approval of the Family Resource and Youth Services Assurance Certification state aye. All those opposed? Motion carried.
I'm glad somebody.
This is like when it gets to the end.
Now you know how I felt.
I do know how you feel.
I got confused.
I was just stumbling. Next item is the travel authorization.
We have 6 of those items in your packet. There is 1 paper copy at your place. And so I want to talk about 3 of these. You've had these and had a chance to look at them, and feel free to scan through them. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to address those. But so the 1 paper copy that you have, you'll notice it's from Bardstown High School, number 1. The organization is for Y Club in Kuna. This was Mr. Hayes' request. He too was struck with the flu last week, has returned, was unable to get this in, so I hope that you will be okay with us including that in the items that were in your packet before. But he does have 20 students that he will be taking to this trip on March the 11th through the 13th, and the reason for the request, it's an overnight, 2 nights in Louisville at the conference. There will be approximately 30 students with 3 chaperones. The other one, the first one in your packet, electronic packet I call to your attention, is the Bardstown wrestling team. We, as you know, we're a very young team, and we were just tickled to death that we're able to have 4 of our students to be able to attend the state tournament and participate, and they did. And of course, back in December the 20th, 2016, Board Note 16-146, we have what's called the circumstantial latitude, which is these folks were unable to ask permission because they just won their regional and were able to go before we had a board meeting. So I'll make you aware of that one. There was another one in that packet for the academic team. If you will, please, we will make the official change on that, but that date should have been March the 17th and through 19th, not February. So if that were the case, that trip would have already taken place. So we will put that one in the packet with the total of 7 that you're approving today. Looking at all of these, they are in good order with the proper number of chaperones, and you can see at the top of in the box whether or not it's an overnight trip or out-of-state trip or a commercial carrier. Any questions on any of these, I'll address that. And if it be the pleasure of the chair, I ask that you approve all 7 at once.
Make a motion to approve the leave of absence, please. I'm sorry, the travel authorization, please.
I'll second.
Got ahead of myself.
All right, and there's
You're
a
stumbling,
second. Any other comments, discussion?
That was a nice letter that was included regarding the Key Club District Convention about how it helps the kids and meet other students. It's a very nice letter.
It was. I always like to see the students write the letter. So do I have all those in favor of approval for the travel authorization state aye?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Next item is the leave of absence request.
We have two of those coming to you today. Both of those are maternity leaves, and both of these teachers are in the Bardstown Primary School. All the Family Medical Leave Act paperwork is complete and accurate, and so we would ask for your approval of these two leave of absences, please.
Do I have a motion for leave of absence request?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor of the leave of absence request state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. I think we'll just skip over the retirements since I'm not happy about them.
I vote
Too bad we
no.
can't vote on that, you know?
Yeah, actually, we're not asking for a vote. We're just
We're going to
aware of
vote,
it.
and I vote no.
That should be noted. All right. The site-based decision minutes are available in your packet, and our next item would be the KASA board member interview training.
Before we begin that training, I would ask, is the board at a point where they need a short break, or would you want to continue, President?
Roll it.
We're moving.
Very good.
Depends on how long it's going to take.
That's a point.
Mr. Eason, I hope you read between the lines there.
I understand.
Welcome. We're glad to have you. And this part of our Mr. Eason will take from here and work with a training. Those folks that are visitors, you are most welcome to remain. Any of you that have other appointments or need to go, you're welcome. That includes the back row as well. You're welcome to go.
If I could, Mr. Postcall, we're going to get to a point on here, we're going to look at position criteria, and just as a courtesy for the integrity of the search, I'm going to request you step out. You don't have to, but it's not to the very end what I'm doing. Again, I want to make it clear that we want to be transparent and let people know what's going on, but it would hurt the integrity of the search if what exactly kind of things we're looking for if we develop questions and form the screening committee. But I only ask as a courtesy. This does not meet the record closed meeting law. I assure the press and anyone else that will be published once we can appoint a superintendent. Now, one of the things Mr. Postclaw doesn't understand, if we can't find someone, he stays on.
Well, I'm sure we're lost then.
But near the end there, I'm going to hand this out just mainly, again, good seeing you, and I'm going to hand this out just to keep me on track. I have a hard time with focus. I'm full of ADHD, so we're going to try to follow this schedule. And the biggest thing we're going to take out of here today is to develop position criteria per your own policy that guides the screening committee. And I say this, the people have been wonderful to work here. I mean, it's the culture and the environment of people working and helping out. I know you got to be proud of that. And they've been wonderful to work with. As we put the screening committee together, as we put the advertisement together, I really have enjoyed working with them. It's great to go into any organization and just sense that trust that we're going to try to do things right, and we trust each other, and you all have certainly played a role in creating that culture here. And obviously, it's tough following those youngsters, and that was one of the best things I've ever seen for board recognition. So staying with where we're going to kind of go is, I want to review the legal and policy guidelines really quick. We're establishing the screening committee per KRS 160.352, and that will be established Thursday. We'll have following the process. Keep in mind the teachers run their own election, but we've helped them and worked with them. That's per Attorney General's opinion. The parent is elected by the parent-teacher presidents, and we have 2 of those, and they will vote for the parent. We're asking parents to send in letters of interest and qualification. So that should all be in place on Thursday per the KRS. I also want to touch on the KRS with the screening committee. The screening committee makes a recommendation to the board
of Education. It is a recommendation. I would encourage you all to give those due diligence. If none of those names meet your, then you could ask for more names. But I feel very confident with Ms. Reed, I think, is going to be on that. We'll be representing you all, and we'll bring back some really good information. But I would encourage you to honor the work of the screening committee. They're representing a lot of people. Per the policy, you are to develop position criteria and then inform the screening committee of that position criteria for superintendent. And I'm going to try to hold you to 8 to 10. If you've got 20, everybody fits the criteria. You really don't have a criteria. And it's key criteria, and we have a process that won't take long to get there. I want to also point out to you that per your policy, the screening committee can use any reasonable means. But I will work with them as a consultant to make sure they wouldn't ask a question or do something that may put this board in any kind of liability. But it says reasonable means. And also, per the timeline, the screening committee is to make their recommendation to you as a board by that date, and that must be met, okay? Kind of getting out of order a little bit, here's what I'm going to recommend. It's your call, but you have to instruct the screening committee. I'm going to recommend, and I'll give you my rationale, that the screening committee recommend names to you 3 to 5 in alphabetical order. 3 to 5 is a fair number to screen down to using your position criteria, and it is a screening committee, not a selection committee. I don't recommend to you that they rank where these people are, but just put them in alphabetical order. That would be my recommendation to you as to instructions for the screening committee.
Have they found a parent for the screening?
We've had names coming in Thursday. We'll open those up Thursday, and the PTO presidents will vote Thursday afternoon right here. We're trying to make everybody, same with the principals, everybody will do it the same way. But we've asked to send in letters of interest and qualifications for people who would be interested in serving on the screening committee. And per the KRS, they are to be elected by the presidents of the parent-teacher organizations. So the goal is to have the screening committee in place by this Thursday. And as an agent for the board, I will be here and it works out fine. But great question. So that's just a little bit of legal and policy, and we're going to follow the policies. I want to give you an update where we are. We have the advertisement. I appreciate the feedback on that advertisement. We advertise to screen people in, not screen people out. We want them to see that and say, hey, that sounds like, not me, but that sounds like something that will help me. That'll also hopefully we keep that in mind as we look at some questions down the road we want to develop for the interview. We have the timeline established. I feel very confident and comfortable we'll meet all those. 2 have to be met. That's when the applications are due, March 1st, and that's where the screening committee will receive them per your policy, and when they're to make the recommendation to you. As I told you the day I talked to you, it seemed like a long time ago, that's a guideline for us. We're not going to be in a big rush to hire the wrong person. If they're not there, if it's that individual it's going to be very difficult to replace, but if that person's not there, we continue it, or we get an interim, and you don't owe me a penny. This is about a partnership. But I feel confident we'll get some quality folks, and it's the most difficult, in my opinion, other than sitting here today to hear these kids say that, and that poetry just, whew. I congratulate Brent, but I can't imagine a better profession to be in. And so anyway, I certainly
If we can't find a suitable candidate, would it be appropriate for us to offer him another year's, just a single year contract?
Absolutely.
I think he decided against that, though.
I think, that could be. I say this with all sincerity. We're not going to find exactly another Brent Holtzclaw that was such a good fit for here, but we can find people that can do that. And it's fun. I did Bowling Green, and Joe Tenius did a wonderful job there, as Brent did, and the board works well together. and they went through the same, and they got somebody, same goals, the same goals in the same way, but different how you get there. And that leads me to a point, when you want to get to it's your obligation and responsibility to appoint the next superintendent. We're going to get feedback. I'm going to share criteria that from the survey we've got. You cannot. That's your obligation per law. But not only that, when you do the interview, you want to say what kind of person. I know that sounds a little, because the relationship between the board and the superintendent is so critical. Because if it's not that way, it goes all the way down to the classroom. And so you have a big, big responsibility coming before you. And I want to say too, I want to appreciate you at this point letting the process just work its way. Following the process, we'll get some quality candidates, then it'll be your choice. So say that. And, we are recruiting now. I will tell you, it's when we have people, when I recruit them, is this a turnaround district? No, it's not a turnaround district. And that attracts certain people that want to come in where it's a district is struggling. So what I'm saying there, I'm not going to recruit, and I'm not going to tell people just to get numbers in front of you. So when I recruit, I try to say, this is not a turnaround district. This is a great district from a wonderful board, but this is not a turnaround. There are superintendents that really, and that's their expertise, is turnaround. It's about fit. You know, when I talked to you before, it's really about the right fit. So I'm going to recruit, but I'm not going to recruit and just people to apply. So don't hold me just to a set number. I want to make sure that there are people who understand a little bit about this district. Okay. So we'll have the screening committee established Thursday. I'll send an email to them sharing with them best practice, along with they shouldn't be meeting, and now they're part of the process. Once you're on the screening committee, you're part of the process. Stay within the process. I will meet with them. I will represent you as a board every night they meet. But they can use any reasonable means, and I will try to make sure that the screening committee stays within their role. Words are important sometimes. This is not a search committee, and this is not a selection committee. It's a screening committee. Once they're on there, they should not be recruiting applicants no more than you all should be. Let's let it come to us, okay? So that's where we are today. It's been great to work with the folks here in Bardstown, I would say. The next on, so we okay with? I don't think we have to take a vote. Anybody have 3 to 5 names in alphabetical order? That makes sense to you?
Sounds logical to me.
Okay, and so they should be screening it down. And I say this, and this doesn't make much sense. I tell them closer to 3 than 5. But we'll see where that goes. But they should screen it down for you. I really encourage you, whatever the screening committee sends, go through the due diligence of that. None of those meet your needs. Then ask for some more names or to review it. Let it work to you, okay? So the path fairly quickly to hire for the best, because the way we'll set this up with the screening committee, and also the way it will be done with the board. The process we'll use is no one person will get a person moving forward on the screening committee, nor can one person on the screening committee keep somebody from moving forward. I have a process I use called multi-voting that it truly becomes a group decision with the screening committee.